Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's an all-you-can-geek Gamecast. I'm your host, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinside,
Ahoy!
and Tony Kokonakis.
Yo, yo, yo.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers. We are live right now on Twitch, Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. Please subscribe so you get notified when we go live. And also, you can subscribe over on YouTube if you don't get these live broadcasts. It's all over there, too. So, guys, it is a regular Gamecast episode after our Of the Years last week. So please, if you guys haven't heard that, check that out. It's our best games of 2024. We just did our TV shows tonight for that side of things, and we did movies before that. Coming up to next week is going to be most anticipated, but we do have regular episodes mixed in. So you get movies, shows anticipated, and games anticipated next week. So stay tuned for that. Regular episode, guys. So what have we been up to? It's been, 2 weeks. I'll kick us off. I'll be getting into Metaphor. So I think I mentioned it on the podcast last week, possibly, because we were talking about it for Of the Years. And yeah, it's good. Like Tony said, though, little spoiler from last episode is it's a little close to the vest. Best way to describe. The story hasn't completely entrenched me in it. I will say that. But I'm only 6-7 hours in, so these games take a long time to kick
It's like
to kick
80
off.
hours
I feel like
or 70 hours, whatever.
yeah. The only problem I have is it's just very. I mean, it's all familiar. That's the only thing. It's just very, it's very familiar. But I do like
The motion.
it is
familiar, yeah.
yeah. But the combat is interesting. The way you can stack your teams. I do like that aspect of things in terms of the strategy involved. Because at first it was just slash and kill, and then you're like, oh, I gotta actually start paying attention to weaknesses and whatnot. So when you get to the boss battles and stuff, but it's good. It looks amazing visually. So I'm into that, and
Where are you playing
played more of that. I'm playing on PS5, so I got it on the Amazon discount during the Christmas break. So, yeah, totally worth. I think it was $20. Tony got that. You pointed out too. I think it was like $20. Totally worth that.
Something
So
like that.
I think I had a
20,
gift card, and that's how I got it for $20.
That's probably, yeah.
But that was my argument in my head. Yeah. So for $20 it was totally worth it. But yeah. I will say that I also played some more Looney Tunes, the sports game, Wacky Sports. It's fun. It's a fun game. The golf is none of it's spectacular. Everything you're playing are Mario's done this way better. But it's fun. It's got the Looney Tunes characters. It's got the music. It's got it's a little bit sluggish to get into things. It's a little slow, but it's a fun game. Little intricacies of the tennis matches and stuff you can do. It's good. So I'm enjoying that. And that's pretty much it for myself, I believe. Yes, I didn't tie anything else yet. So, Mike?
Well, more Marvel Rivals, obviously. Climb my way to Gold 1. We'll see if I can take that next step this season. I don't know. It's hard in solo queue. And they do have that new game mode for the Chinese New Year, which is really dumb. The game mode. It's like some weird football soccer thing with it's strange, but if you grind through it and get paint, you can get another skin for I think
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord, yeah. So I might just try to do the minimum requirements there. And then otherwise I'm playing Rise of the Golden Idol. Um, if
What is
this
that?
is a sequel to
Okay.
Curse of the Golden Idol. It's a mystery game. I've been playing it with Ashley, where you find words and key phrases, and you put together what happened in a scene, which is not very apparent some of the time, and you just try to solve a mystery, even though you're not really a character. You're just a observer of what's happening, but you want and you fill in the words and the names, and you try to reconstruct what actually happened in each scene, and then you go on, and everything is related, and it all comes together in the end. Yeah, both these games are similar. This one is the newer one. This came out this last year. It's fun. It's funny because you'll look at a scene and you'll be this very daunted. You're I have no idea what anything is or why anything is or how to fill out this very full word bank as far as with empty spaces. But eventually you do it. You just do what you can, and you feel very smart when you do it, even though you're not, because it's designed to make you do it eventually. So, It's definitely a different, like probably the polar opposite of Marvel Rivals. So a balance
Mm.
in what I'm playing right now. So it's fun.
Okay.
It's good.
All right. Corey.
Yeah, mostly just Marvel Rivals has been the main game that I've been playing. But Tony mentioned in the other podcast, we did go to a game convention, music and gaming convention, and so that took a lot more time.
Yeah, that's cool. How was that?
No, it's great. I mean, so it's one of the better conventions because it's not just it's for one, it's open like you can do stuff 24 hours. So there's always something going on. They have a gigantic console area with multiple different consoles ranging from Genesis and Nintendos, up to not necessarily they don't have like this super new ones like or anything, but it's more of a classic game collection and things like that. So you can play 64. There's some Dreamcast stuff. It's like a lot of different things. And then they have an arcade section where it's like arcade cabinets, and so there's a bunch of arcade cabinet and Japanese games, rhythm games, and a lot of pinball. So played a lot of pinball
Cool.
when I could.
Nice.
Pinball machines break all the time. It's ridiculous how much.
Well,
Yes,
when
yes.
you're being played 24 hours for 3-4 days straight, I guess it's
That's
bound to
fair.
happen. Yeah.
I mean, if you think back to I mean, you're slamming the side of the machine with your hand a lot. It's gonna shake the thing. I can see a breakability on those things. Used to be
Some
crazy. So
some guys
Yeah,
trying to
I
like
love
pick it up.
pinball though.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah, the
pinball's
tilt.
fun. The tilt, yeah. The tilt. So, all right, Tony.
Yeah, so that's just to follow up on Corey. Magfest, great time. Really will strongly recommend you guys for third year in a row.
Mhm.
Try to make it down some year.
Where's it
'Cause
at?
DC, National, is right where
DC.
Katsucon used to be, National Harbor. Same
Oh, okay.
Gaylord,
Got it.
uh, same place. But it's a total blast. Again, it's more grassroots and like indie type stuff. Like you could play any of the games really. There's a game library, but it's not. You're not going to see like Nintendo, Microsoft, PlayStation come and set up in an expo hall and try to sell you on whatever game they're launching in 6 months. That's AAA. It's none of that, which is fine because me, I'm after 10 years of that, I'm done. It's not worth the time, effort, and energy. This is really just it's a convention run by fans for fans, and it's honestly the love of the game and the music. So I didn't even spend that much time in the arcade this year. Played some of the pinball, like Corey mentioned, a couple music rhythm games, the Gundam game a little bit. But this year I was way more into like the music stuff. There were a couple concerts that were just so awesome, like Cybertronic Spree. They're a cover band that likes to do game music while dressed in Transformers cosplay the whole time. They had Lotus Juice, who's the one of the vocal composers for Persona series. He did several live shows. We got to see that. That was awesome.
He shouted out New Jersey.
He shouted out he's from New Jersey. We didn't know that. We were like, oh, okay. He grew up. He's from New Jersey and stuff like that. Bit Brigade was I
Evergreen
believe
was awesome. Yeah.
it's a band that plays video game music while somebody's speedrunning a video game on stage with them. So like the two
They're
games.
playing
Is,
the music of that scene
Yeah.
instead of the game playing the music, but
Right.
someone's actually playing the game.
right. So this year the games are F-Zero and Super Mario World, right?
Super Mario World, yeah.
Yeah. So they're playing the music for the level instead of it coming from the system and stuff like that. Well, like a guy's on stage, like just playing the game, speedrunning
Live. Playing it live, yeah.
Right. So he was like messing up. So it's like, oh well, we got to keep playing the song, just because he messed up and didn't beat the level and stuff. So
Mhm.
it's just really good time. It sounds so silly, but when you're like there in the moment, you're just like you're getting hyped. The crowd has like fantastic energy, despite being like I said, 4
Yeah,
day
Lotus
commitment.
Juice didn't go on until like 2:40 or 2:30 or something like that in
Yeah.
the morning.
He even said he's like, wow, I'm surprised so many of you are here and you're still energetic. Like, if it wasn't for this, I'd be in bed right now. He's talking. So it's just a fantastic time. We got to see like some symphonies and orchestra stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and that's what it is. Like, I got to listen to a vocal like almost opera-ish cover of "Live and Learn" from Sonic Adventure 2, which was so crazy. It's like I'll try to find if that person got it uploaded to YouTube, but I'm just like, wait, this is Live and Learn. Like what? It's like okay. And it was awesome because this year's theme was Sonic. Like they had the logo done in like the Sonic Mania logo. They had
Yeah,
merch in
Magfest was like in the Sega Genesis or Sega logo
Sega
essentially
font.
when Genesis days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And probably number one cosplay all weekend, never would have guessed this, was Dr. Robotnik. We were so many
Men and
Dr.
women.
Robotniks.
Yep.
So
There's
many. Like all incarnations of him, whether it was Jim
yep.
Carrey or Eggman or whatever. But like that was clearly number one cosplay, even above Sonic, even above Shadow. Oh, there was a bunch of
Even
them.
above like all the anime ones you'd expect too. It was just like, whoa, there's a Robotnik. For every one Robotnik, there are two robot. There's like for every two Robotniks, maybe you got another like one. It's like, but yeah, Robotnik was far and away the most. It's like everywhere you turn, there was a Robotnik.
You
It
know,
was cool though. It was awesome. Like so much. I didn't realize there was so much love for Sonic out there still. Like people were so excited for this.
yep, absolutely. Like you would have a blast. So many Sonic people
It
there.
was this if there was any year you should have gone, it was this. This was the year. There's so much Sonic stuff.
I actually was I went to a basketball game Saturday, Vince
Mm,
Carter's jersey retirement.
I did see that. Yeah, that's
For the
cool.
Nets, so I was into that. He was my favorite, my second favorite player, I think, all time behind Jordan, but more of a personal favorite because he's not everyone's favorite player. So I
Yeah.
was excited to see that. Even though the current Nets are terrible, so the game was mediocre. But I had an event too,
Hmm.
but not really related to any of this. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely was. There was one other thing I did want to mention. The shout out to I think it was called Other something like Her Embrace. There
Oh,
was an
other
indie
yeah,
game,
her Embrace. Yeah, that was an
something
awesome
like
indie
that.
game.
There was like it's like this 2D top down, almost Zelda style open world or open map
Hmm.
exploration thing, and you're going into a dungeon. But then the combat system was completely different. It was like a multi-level, not no level, but
It's kind of like
2D.
Devil May 2D Devil May Cry, which sounds
Okay, yeah,
weird.
yeah, yeah. And that's what he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
And the designer was there. It's like two guys. One was the artist, one was the programmer, and they were just talking about it. And you could tell like the passion for the game, but at the same time, this has been like in development for a long time. But hopefully, it gets it out by the end of this year, or early next year, as his plan. So definitely highly recommend looking into that if you're into that kind of stuff. It was really cool looking. That was probably the highlight of the indie room for me, anyway. Because
yeah,
they do
no,
have a whole
absolutely.
bunch of indie stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, right. And that was one of my highlights too, because like I'd rather talk to the people that are making the game. That it's like obviously they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears into
Hmm.
a project that may or may not get off the ground, that may or might not make them money when all is said and done. And again, they're just doing all for the love of the game, right? And that was
Yep.
definitely a standout. But there were a couple other games that were gems too, and we even ran into like old friends of ours.
Yeah.
Corey, we ran into Sony, one of our first convention friends we ever made back in
Yep.
'08 or
Hmm.
whatever like that.
Wow,
So it was kind of like,
Random.
what the heck?
Super random. Yeah.
that was
Super
random.
absolutely random. We were just standing next to her for like a half hour or so. It was like, wait a second, Corey? It's like, who's this?
Well, to be fair, she was wearing a mask. We didn't.
Yeah,
Couldn't
we didn't
tell.
know. We didn't know. It was literally,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Cool. All right. Let's get into some news, guys. Gaming world. What's been going on? There's been some stuff happening. We've got some Microsoft news to go over. We'll probably save that for here. Let's talk about Balatro, though. Balatro, 5 million units sold.
Oh, there was
Last
a
few
lot
weeks.
of
There
Balatro
was a lot of Balatro
cosplay at
cosplay
this
too.
Was there?
Magfest.
Yeah,
The
just
Jokers
people
or
making like cardboard
random
things
stuff.
and then just
Yep.
doing the clown makeup.
Yeah, I mean, give the Game Awards credit. Put it on the map. You know what I mean? Like, it was obviously very popular beforehand, but the sales went up massively after the Game Awards too. So they got a nice bump from that, or he did. One guy, but yeah, it's a phenomenal game as we talked about in our of the years, how it deserves to be mentioned, and cool the cosplays going on with that. That's crazy.
Mhm.
But 5 million
People will
units sold.
cosplay anything.
Yeah.
We saw Chuck E.
Um,
Cheese.
game industry news. GTA 6. So just talking about this game, which is who knows when it's coming, but
All right.
apparently there are game industry companies hoping that GTA 6 will be, obviously launching at $80 to $100. I think we're hearing $100 possibly. Just saying, the market needs a price hike for more growth,
Again,
and
yeah.
so that they're hoping
Mhm.
that this is going to kick it off.
If there's one game
I said
that
this
can
before.
come out,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
If there's one that can do it, it's definitely GTI
But
for
can
how
Can
big
other
it
games come
is,
out?
and
Can other games come out at $80?
well, they
Oh,
will.
80? Mm.
I mean, if
Yeah.
once someone does it, someone else is going to do it, right? So you're going to have people that follow suit. It's just a matter of will there be a revolt, so to speak, of like we don't accept this for these games; they don't deserve it. But as far
That's what I'm
as
saying.
what
Like,
like games
yeah.
cost and the return on them, like we've been stealing from game developers for a long time. It's like ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
the amount of effort, time, and energy people have to put into these things.
It's just a matter of like budget wise, can people afford? Is it going to hurt the industry more to raise that price because I feel like it cuts out people from buying the games as much? But that's the only argument about
I'm
it.
of
But I
two.
do see it obviously.
I see
Mhm.
it a little quick right after we just moved up to 70, like a few years ago.
5 years ago.
And not even
Was it
everyone
5?
is there.
5 years flew by. Holy shit.
I think it's
So
pretty acceptable that things are 69.99 nowadays, and then things go on sale, right? That's basically what you're
Yeah,
saying.
right.
absolutely.
I just think you can't rush these things with
Rush. What are we talking
general
about? This is not
population.
rushing. We're getting into a new generation of consoles, essentially, with the pros and the Switch 2s and all that. And I mean, games have been priced so low for so long.
No,
Like
I,
I
I
understand that. I mean, and if we gradually went up with inflation, they'd be like $100 something now. I get that, but and people would be fine with it if it happened gradually. But to just be like $10, like within 5 years, I don't know if
it's
people are
not
gonna
that
accept
long.
that.
5 years of inflation, Mike, is not bad to ask for $10. I mean, it's not.
$20 more within 5 years?
What? Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right, but but okay, let's go. Let's zoom out. How about over the last 20 years? How much more is that?
Well, I said that's my whole point is if it was gradual, people would be fine with it. But when you try to do this right after doing this again,
I,
we've been at $60 for like 20, 30 years, and then we bumped up to 70. People are like, fine, okay, like, and we're
well, I
finally
fully
there where people are like,
expect.
all right,
Yeah, I fully
and now we're
expect
gonna try
GTA
again.
6 to be 100. I fully expect that to be $100.
$100
I
game.
don't, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really believe there'll be additions. Maybe I don't really believe it's going to be more than $70. I think this is just wishful thinking from other people because they don't
No.
need to worry about that.
If any company
I
did
mean,
it, it would definitely be Take Two right now. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
I said that probably a year or two ago when
Mm-hmm.
we first started hearing rumbles of the budget. I was like, this they could charge $100 for this game and they could get away with it because it's that ingrained in at least Western culture to the point where they went an entire console generation without a new GTA,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still topping the charts for several years,
Yeah.
right? How many times
Yeah.
did you have to be like fucking GTA 5 again? Like
Yeah.
Right.
fucking
And all they
GTA
need to
5.
do is be like, here's GTA 6 at $100. You're gonna get $25 worth of shark
Right,
points,
shark
whatever
money
crap
or
it
whatever
is.
the fuck it is.
They could
And
release this game as a free-to-play game and make their money.
probably, but
I mean,
it's
I
not.
I don't
You're
know
still
about
gonna
that.
be charging because this budget's got to be insane. I just
For
think like
online,
yeah,
they makes their
you
money.
might as well like throw some digital currency in there, make people feel like
You're
they're
getting
getting
something.
value, and then people are gonna buy it without hesitation.
Right. And so my mindset of this is that Rockstar and Take Two can get away with this for Grand Theft Auto 6. And if anything, a price hike for the industry overall, another $10, let's say we go from $69.99 to $79.99. I think it would just create a better situation for the developers and publishers that can release quality games, like besides Rocksteady or no, Rockstar, like Nintendo could get away with it, Sony could get away with it. There's no problem with that, right? They might sell some percentage lower, but it's going to be offset by the price increase and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But anybody else that doesn't release them, like let's take for example Ubisoft, right? With Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed coming out, they would be hurt by that because people have learned, right? Like, hey, don't buy a game on
They
day
go on
one.
sale.
You're just
Yeah,
right.
go on
You're
sale. Yeah.
wait for a sale, and you're gonna get the better
Actually,
game down the line if you wait.
Exactly. Like that's the
it
thing.
might
Like
have happened
you
already.
learn.
Actually, it might have hurt them already.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at like Star Wars Outlaws or Veilguard, both
Yeah.
those games were like they were like, oh, these are okay, but at $70 that release, and was like,
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. Velkard is a great example. didn't post it because our reception was terrible this weekend. But EA quarterly results came out, and they said they were down because of the soccer game sales, but notably Dragon Age Veilguard didn't hit their targets. The language they used specifically was, we only hit 1.5 million players, which was 50% lower than our target. So they anticipate 3 million players, right? And the language here is, again, kind of murky. Like, we're getting to that Microsoft PlayStation territory. It's like monthly active users. What do you define as a user, right? Because it's not copies of a game sold. It's users, because they have their EA... What the fuck is their subscription program called?
Play?
EA Play Plus or whatever, where that second tier gets you access to their new games, right? So, like, for Dragon Age Veilguard to only hit 1.5 million... Like, we're not even talking 1.5 million copies sold anymore, right? Because obviously there's a lot of people that just pseudo-rented the game for a month. That's bad, because that game was in development for, like, 6 or 7 years.
Well, I did post that there was in jeopardy of closing that company. That's it. Like, just laying off staff. Sorry.
Oh,
they
yeah,
won't close the Bioware down, but not Bioware, you know.
I don't think they'll close it. They'll turn it into a Battlefield farm factory, asset factory.
That might
That's
be
what
what
they
it
would do.
What was the article I posted? I gotta find it.
Lost its lead too, right? Just recently.
Okay,
she left.
Bioware Edmond Studio might be closing down. And that's the post. There's no confirmation yet, but they're like,
who posted it though?
Random person looking into it. It's somebody from. Let me read who they were from. I'll tell you right now who they were from.
They're not like a reputable source, right? It's not like Jason.
No,
if like Jason started saying it, then I would believe it.
No. They did have a podcast and stuff, but it wasn't like
we have a podcast.
super
What does
reputable.
it mean, right?
Yeah, we're not super reputable. I get it.
But
Who has a podcast? You know?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. So, like, the thing is, BioWare would be more valuable to EA as, like, just another Battlefield farm factory for assets, stages, stuff like that. And honestly, I could see that after this. Like, why? Because Dragon Age, I believe, has always sold better than Mass Effect. Like, Inquisition sold, like, 15 million copies, I think. Something like that. Which is pretty insane to go from 15 million copies to, like, you're not even selling 1.5. In kind of like an uncrowded market these days. Like, what was the competition for Veilguard this October, right? Like, you know, you had your average Call of Duty, which you have every year, but there wasn't like a Final Fantasy game right up against it. There wasn't Baldur's Gate 3 right up against it. You know, so that would have been disastrous, right? So they had like pretty much an open window for this type of game, and they fumbled it. And how can you, as EA, right, EA executives, and I'm not defending them, but I'm just explaining the logic, be like, yeah, we'll sign you up for full production on Mass Effect next for the next 5 years, because we're definitely not getting it before 2030, right, based on current BioWare's track record. So what, you're just going to sink $300 million into another game that probably isn't going to do $2, $3, $4 million month one? That's insane.
Yeah.
That's the definition of insanity.
Yeah, and that's even after people were praised, like critically.
Critically did pretty good. You know, it was like 80, I think, around that range.
And we were all talking about how stupid it looked, and then it came out, and the reviews were great, and it's like, oh wow, people actually like this game, but it's not selling.
Nope, it's not selling, and it was it was very quickly discounted. So again, going back to the point with $80 games, let's say, it's just going to create a bigger discrepancy between the winners and the losers. And that's unfortunately the market. That's unfortunately the arms race with the market that, you know, we're in now, where it was like, you can't just come out with a sequel that, you know, slightly iterates and improves. It's got to be bombastic. It's got to be like, oh shit, you know, tripled the budget. But why? Are people even going to notice? I don't know, man. It's scary.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. What else we got? We got Microsoft news next. So they had their event. Was it last week? I forgot what was happening, actually. It was the Developer Direct. I think it was last week. So we got a couple games shown. South of Midnight was shown more of it. Expedition 33, Doom: The Dark Ages was shown, and most notably, Ninja Gaiden 4, which was a surprise showing. Surprise showing.
I said it was going to be a Koei Tecmo game. I told you.
I mean, are you shocked though that they shadow dropped Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, I believe, right? A remake, a remaster of it, a remake. Yeah, remake. Yeah, well, the remake is remaster. Sorry, remaster.
But that's what I was saying.
But
That's literally what I was saying. I was like, I can't believe in the era post Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Bloodborne, notoriously hard, but great
yeah,
combat, that they just let Ninja Gaiden die.
Ninja
And lo
Gaiden
and behold,
die. Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4 looks cool. Obviously, it's in development. We don't know much what's going to happen yet with it, but I thought that was a cool. I was surprised that they got that. It's a good get for them. But the other thing I want to talk about was I thought Doom the Dark Ages. I think it looks great. I'm actually pretty excited for that. So I keep mentioning that. It looks great. I'm happy I can play it on my PS5. And it's I don't know about the other two. The Expedition, I guess, looks okay, looks pretty good. But South of Midnight, I'm not sure is my style, but we'll see what the reviews come out to be. But I think it looks four pretty solidly looking games for Microsoft this year.
Are they
Ninja
all
Gaiden's
scheduled
probably
this
not
year?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Ninja Gaiden's not. All three of those are, I believe.
Okay, but Expedition's not an exclusive.
It's
None of
no,
them are exclusive.
nothing's exclusive,
Oh.
as we're going to get into in a second. But South of Midnight, Doom, and Expedition
Yeah,
are
I guess
all
we
this
can get
year.
into this.
Ninja Gaiden, I don't believe is this year at all. But
No.
shock me world, but I doubt it. I'm sure that's maybe next year, or a little ways out farther than that. But yeah, I don't know. They all look like they look really good. So we can all try them. They'll be on every system. Which brings me to the next bit of the news with this was Phil Spencer was in the news talking with people, talking about all this other stuff, and talked about the fact that he now has changed tune. Like, this is complete 180 from what he said.
This is
before.
what I said last year. Exactly
to
what I
keep
said last
games.
year.
This is exact quote. To keep games off of other platforms, we don't think that's the path. That's not the path for us. It doesn't work for us. As we mentioned before, Halo, expect it. I bet you that's on the Switch too.
Absolutely.
I bet you Master Chief
100%,
Collection launches on Switch too.
1,000,000%.
I bet you it launches with it.
Absolutely.
So expect it. I expect the next Halo game to launch on PS5, and I was saying originally 6 months. I think it's out the window. I think it's day and date.
100%.
I still think they're timed exclusives still.
I think that's gone, Mike. I think that's absolutely gone.
Not while Game Pass exists.
Well,
I
Game
think
Pass
you're gonna
isn't.
get
They
the
just did it
Indiana
for
Jones.
they just did that for Call of Duty. Why would they not do it for these other
Call
games?
of Duty, because Call of Duty existed on everything else before, and it's expected.
Yeah, but that's just showing that you can still do it with big titles.
Well, they don't want to cut into their player.
What are
base
they
of
trying to?
already
What systems are they trying to sell
Player
anymore?
base. They're trying to grow their player base.
They're trying to sell Game Pass subscriptions.
Yeah, no, that's
But
true.
that's why
No,
they
they-
still put it out on.
I don't think so
everything,
anymore.
though.
I don't think so anymore. I don't.
You don't think so? Okay.
No,
Wow.
listen, like
Wow.
read the words that Phil
I mean,
just
they
said
weren't
in
even
all these
talking about that.
interviews. He's
Yeah.
talking about selling games on all the platforms. Selling games, not selling subscriptions. Selling games.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they've walked back and they're just being very careful about the language because they know Game Pass is not growing at the rate they want it to. They missed the expectations 3 years in a row where that was on their CEO's like target list of objectives every year, which he will get bonuses or not, whether he meets those metrics. And for 3 years in a row, they missed it all, and it's no longer on there anymore. It's just not sustainable.
I don't know. They seem to like what they did with the Call of Duty Black Ops with it. So even though that did release on everything else too, but
Like, Mike, you're gonna get to play it
also released on Game
via your subscription. Like, you'll play Halo. What are they on? 6?
Right,
What are they on now?
but
7?
I
Um,
think Phil also said not everything will be on every system as well either.
He
So
said there are
that's-
now no red lines for which games it could port.
I know
Yep.
that's an old
No, that's a new one.
quote from
Last year was we're just starting with these 4 titles, these 4 specific
No, this is
titles.
yeah. So
Oh, it's everything.
Um,
We have to keep saying this. I don't know why, but no game from Microsoft is going to be exclusive to their system going forward. There's no reason they don't have a system that they're pushing anymore to do that for. They're fine selling subscriptions and putting Call of Duty on everything else. They're going to be fine doing that with every other game they have.
We'll see. I don't
Yeah.
know. I still think they're going to do timed exclusives for a while.
And by the end
I
of
mean-
this year, there will not be time exclusives. I don't think there may be still time exclusives.
Like what
that
were
were
kind
in
of exclusive?
production for this year.
Like
yeah.
who's that helping?
I think
right
by the
now?
time, I'm just saying by the time Halo launches, it will not be timed exclusive. So Halo will launch.
like Halo, that was a multi-platform launch. Halo Infinite would probably be a success. I'll venture that. I will say that. It'd probably be successful.
If it was on PlayStation day one, yeah, we'd still be talking about
Yeah.
Halo Infinite probably.
I mean,
Anyone who has a PlayStation care about Halo?
Sure.
I
Why
I
not?
People
think the
moved from
novelty.
Xbox
I
to
think just
PlayStation because
just
they
the
weren't getting
novelty,
games.
Mike. Yeah, just the novelty of being able to play Halo on the PlayStation. I think that sells
Every
some of the
one
game
of
by itself.
us played
Yeah.
Halo to death until they didn't they didn't have systems or games on like that were worth buying systems for. Except you were the last holdout.
I was. Well, Mike was now. Mike is. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I always used to get excited for the hardware, and listen, the hardware's still coming. You know, he talked about that as well. I don't know what the selling pitch is. He talked in circles with that. Really, his exact quote was, I want people to pick hardware based on the capabilities of that hardware and how it fits into into the choices that they want to make and about where they want to play. And we want our hardware to win based on the hardware capabilities that we have. That's his exact quote.
Mm,
What does
I
that mean?
That's
What is
like
hardware
circle talk.
capabilities? Like it doesn't. That's
Yeah.
word soup to me. That means nothing, Phil.
Yeah, that's
that
what the
means
whole
nothing.
statement is. The whole statement is that.
I know.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's almost like he had that prepped in his back pocket, just
But
waiting
one
to be
hundred
asked.
percent.
Oh,
Every fucking interview he does, he's been prepped. Absolutely, 1,000,000%. Because again, he's very specific in the language. We could just look at last year when they had that weird roundtable podcast where it's like, we're starting with these 4 games and we're not talking about anything else right now. And it's like not even a year later, like, oh well, there's no red lines anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, so like you knew this and less than you came to this conclusion in 6 months when you've only released what, like 3 little shitty games.
I'm just happy it's gonna be easy to play Fable. Like, you know, I could get that on my PS5 or.
Jesus, Jim, you still think that game's coming?
I think it is. I have
Yeah,
faith.
you still think it's coming this year too, don't you? Right? Like, didn't we talk about
I did. I think I did say that. Yeah, I think that launches this year.
I don't know.
I'm less so optimistic, considering it's, you know, I thought we'd hear about that this month,
I mean,
but no.
fool me once.
If we didn't hear
but-
about it this direct, I don't think we're getting it this year.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I just the worst part is I was hoping they would do it like
No.
Nintendo, where it's like, here's the first half of the year, and then we have
No.
stuff for the
Okay,
second
they
half,
did
but-
that once already, Jim. It's like every game we're showing is coming out in the next 12
Yeah,
months.
Silk Song was there.
And then not every game that they showed came out
It
in
doesn't
the next
matter.
12 months.
They could say Fable's coming November. It doesn't mean it's coming November. So,
Exactly.
um,
Exactly. Can't believe anything anymore.
no,
I
I
don't
mean, like I said, I've like I said, the PlayStation 5 is a fantastic piece of hardware. So I no longer am of the belief that Microsoft makes the best hardware. I used to say that all the time. But I do love the DualSense controller a lot. I think it's a fantastic controller. Like I would have said the Xbox controller any day.
When was the last time Microsoft had the best hardware, Jim? What are you talking about? They've always
I used to
been
love.
a
I
software
always
company.
I always felt like the Xbox One
The
was still a great piece of
360
hardware.
was better than PS3.
The 360
360 had a
was,
50% failure rate. What are you talking
yeah.
about?
It's still,
I don't care.
I'm talking about
It still was
power.
Well,
better.
you don't care that 50% of the people that bought one didn't get to play it because they had to return it and get it
I mean,
You
repaired.
had to wrap that in a,
I
you
did
had to wrap
too,
it in a
but
towel. That's all you did is wrap it in a
I
towel.
I mean, it was fine hardware. I'm just
Everything
saying it was
functioned better.
50% failure rate. You're talking about better hardware, not better made hardware.
I mean, I will say that
I don't know.
the look of their systems look a little better and it runs quieter than the PlayStation 5 by far, but it doesn't make it a better hardware. Although I did read that the HDMI from Xbox is way better, so you can do 4K actually out of it better with frame rate, whereas you can't do the PS5 or the Pro. But like I said, just the controller by itself makes the system better. Like that DualSense controller it's awesome. Like I just love that controller, and
Yeah.
I used to slam the DualShock 4.
I will
used to
say the
slam
DualShock
that
was a
controller.
piece of shit. That was a terrible
Yeah.
controller.
This is a great controller though, so they hit it with that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what Microsoft's going to do. You can hold out hope, Mike, for whatever, but I think it's over.
No, I
It's
mean,
over, man.
From today, it said that like 9 hours ago,
Okay.
he had an interview and he said, he suggested that not everything will be coming to rival systems. So he's still saying, being confusing.
Well, he's covering his ass just in case something
Mixed
can't come to
messaging.
Switch 2. You can't flat out say everything's going to be coming to PlayStation 5 guaranteed, even though that's the reality of the situation. That is the reality, 100%. Anything that
Yeah,
can
I
will
don't-
be out on PlayStation 5. Anything Switch 2, that's a toss-up.
The thing is like once you've had a taste of the money, why would they stop? Like what? You bring out a game on another system and it sells and you make extra money because you put it on that system. why would you stop? Why would you say I'm not going to do that because our fans will buy this one? No, it's
No,
all about money at the end
again,
of the day.
he's he's not gonna stop it. Again, I think they still want some incentive for people to use their stuff.
Well, we'll
And
see.
that's the timed exclusive. That's their hedge.
We'll see.
I don't think it worked out for Starfield, and that was the breaking point.
Yeah.
Like if
I think you're right
Starfield was
about that. I think
successful
Starfield-
last
the
year, like
language
massively
changed.
successful,
The language
It
changed.
was.
we might
Yeah.
have been in a different situation. But all that
The
money,
language
like
changed after that launched. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. And they tried to help that as best they could. Remember, they removed or they increased the free trial. There was no free trial. The price increase. Like they were trying to get as much as they could out of the Starfield thing, and it didn't. And the thing is,
Yeah.
we even got like December data from Circana, formerly NPD, where they confirmed the Xbox Series X and S is trailing behind Xbox One, like launch line by the same point in time.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is bad, which is awful. Like Xbox One, we joke about that, and how are you doing worse than that? How?
Yeah.
Well, Xbox One sneakily beat out the PlayStation, didn't it?
No, you're talking about the
PlayStation
360, and that still didn't with the
360,
PlayStation 3.
That's right.
PlayStation 4
That's right.
has
Is at
been
117 million units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's going to wrap up this episode, folks. So thanks for tuning in. Once again, we're live on Twitch Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. Follow us on Twitch to get posted when we go live, or you can follow us on YouTube because all the stuff's over there. Next week is going to be most anticipated. So stay tuned for that stuff. Tune in next week. We'll see you guys next week. We are out.